our favorite thing to do besides, which we did 3 times a day.
What is
So?
eh?
Well,
sex.
you saw the motion. You know what it is. Lily.
Yeah, we would fuck 3 times a day. In fact, I have a video of her literally saying...
Well, see, that's part of the problem, too, is that you love that part so much that a lot of things were clouding.
Well, yeah, of course. Come on, let's be real.
Like I said, I've been in your shoes.
Best sex I ever had in my life. In fact, best sex I ever had in my life, period. At the end of the day, I finally found a woman that was able to keep up with me.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the number 1 sugar dating podcast in the entire world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily?
I can't say anything because I'm giving you the silent treatment.
No, you're not. Come on, give us your little quirky saying.
The scolded.
Scolded. Oh, that's right. I scolded you.
Yeah.
No, the shocking stories of sugar dating.
I think today's episode is going to be quite shocking.
It is, but you know what's even more shocking? These boots.
Aren't they lovely?
They are
Those are some
lovely.
boots.
For those on our Patreon, you will get to indulge in a photo of these boots. I'm going to have Lily put those on there. You put the photos of that turquoise blue one
Yes.
that you wore the other day.
Now we just need a side-by-side with your mother's bedazzled owl.
My grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother.
God rest her soul. Long, long gone.
Yes.
The owl is gone. Who knows who's cherishing it now?
I wish it was me.
I know,
I would
right?
carry it around when I wear my peacock boots.
Right. I know. Anyway, you got a lot of comments on those boots. You get a lot of comments on all your boots.
People love my boots.
You're the boot lady.
The boot whisperer.
Yeah, you are. All right. Anything else going on before we get to our guest? We got a return guest today. I'm anxious to get into this story.
Well, we went to dinner last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, we always brag about how great the weather is in Scottsdale, Arizona, how amazing the winters are. And when it's 75 degrees here, the rest of the country is in a weather advisory. It's cold as fuck here today and rainy.
Yes. It was like this Tuesday also when I went to the Open.
And I went to the Open yesterday, and it rained and hailed. Unbelievable.
It's miserable.
So anyway, podcast fanboy brought Sophia in from London to visit this week.
To enjoy our wonderful Arizona winter.
I think she brought the weather from London.
She did.
She's like, oh, this is fine.
Let's get her on a jet back to the UK.
It was nice. It's the first time you've seen her since the party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Always lovely to have her here.
The beautiful Sophia.
Yeah. So anyway, that was fun. So Lily has been loading up our Patreon. It's more now. It's more than just episodes before anybody hears them. We've got a lot of pictures on there too.
Yeah.
Now, some of them are hidden faces due to,
To protect the guilty.
Yeah, right. Keep some people anonymous. Yeah, we're really loading that up. And another thing that we're going to throw in. So we've been doing a little bit of coaching on profiles, helping people with messages they receive. If you are a member of our Patreon, you will get that service included. So just sign up, go to patreon.com/secrets of a sugar daddy podcast. It's only $10 a month. You know what? I was at McDonald's the other day. I couldn't even buy breakfast for $10.
No.
So it's less than a breakfast at McDonald's.
But see, now if they sign up for the Patreon, they have to skip breakfast once a month.
Well, that's the price you pay. All right. Well, I think we're caught up. We have a guest today. He was in episode 77. That was his very first debut. And also episode 81. Welcome back, Bruce Almighty.
It's good to be here.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
So that was about a year ago, right?
I think it was about exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had you on for a couple shows.
It was fun being on. First episode was a blast. Second episode, I did not perform well, but that's okay.
Oh, that's
that
to your own
happens.
opinion. I always tell people how many downloads, or how popular their episode is. And of course, the one episode, I think we named it like Plain Sex and Squirting with Bruce Almighty. As you can imagine, just from the title alone.
Not plain like in vanilla, but airplane sex.
Airplane sex. Yeah. So, but that actually had nothing to do with you. That was more with me. A story that I told.
Kind of funny because the story I'm telling today is about a flight attendant. So
there you go. We tied in. So what's been going on? You said, I got a little brief synopsis of the story. I didn't get to hear it all, but you were telling me you met somebody on Seeking right after you did our show, and it's been a whirlwind of a year.
Well, I'll say this. I was having so much fun on Seeking. I literally was meeting 2-3 people a week. And
that is a good time.
Yeah, it's a very good time. I remember telling my daughter-in-law and my son, who live in Gilbert, that I was having so much fun, most fun I've ever had dating. And I said, for the first time since I've been divorced since 2007, I don't need a relationship. And then what the fuck happens? I get in a relationship.
Yeah. All right, so let's back up a little bit just because I've got so many new listeners. Give us a quick background. You are how old?
I'm 62 and a half.
Really?
I know.
Yeah,
I
same
don't
age as
look
Trucker.
I look at least, tell me I look under 70.
You still have every hair in your head, and that pisses me off because I lost mine at 21.
I've lost some weight too. I mean, come
You know
on,
what? You do
working-
look
You have
good.
lost some weight.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Looking good.
You look great.
Thank you. I'm working out a ton.
That's what broken love does for you. It's a weight loss.
It's not that. I'll tell you what. When I moved down, here's why I lost weight. I moved after 25 years in Scottsdale. I moved to Gilbert, Arizona.
Okay, which is a suburb of Phoenix.
It is, and it's unlike Scottsdale in every way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Better or worse?
Well, I've been brushing off the pretentiousness since I've been down there.
The pretentiousness?
I'll say that. They said I was a dick at first, but I call it
Because you were from
pretentiousness.
Scottsdale?
Well, it's funny. I mean, it's just, do you know the 5 richest towns in Arizona right now? Paradise Valley, of course, is number 1.
Yeah.
What do you think number 2 is?
Gilbert.
Queen Creek.
Clean.
Close.
Oh, yeah. $1 million homes
Yeah.
going up like madness.
Number
down
3 is Gilbert.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Cave Creek. And number 5 is
Scottsdale?
Scottsdale. Scottsdale's way down the list.
Wow, they've fallen.
And when I moved here back in 99, 25 years ago or so, everyone said, oh, you're moving to the land of $30,000 millionaires and the Barbies that chase them. And when you take that statement, it's not that false. I mean, people, it's just a little bit more materialistic in Scottsdale. And it's not criticism. That's not saying everyone's that way. I have some of the best Salt of the Earth friends,
Yeah.
ever.
But there's
you
a
guys are great.
well-deserved reputation that
It
Scottsdale
is.
has.
And it's almost like you have to try to keep up with that. And I don't know. I dated, there are a lot more single people in Scottsdale, don't get me wrong, because I've been out a few times with a friend and I have yet to sing a single person, out on a Friday or Saturday night. Maybe I'm going to the wrong places or whatever.
You mean in Gilbert?
In Gilbert.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
downtown Gilbert was one of our first dates.
Actually, I took Lily downtown Gilbert on our very first date. I met her.
I'm
Went to
walking
Whiskey
distance
Row.
there.
Yeah.
I'm walking distance. I love it. And it's
You're in
been-
walking distance?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend who lived there and she was in walking distance and we had so much fun.
Is she single? Okay.
She is single.
Is she cute?
She's adorable,
There you go. Well,
but she lives 3 hours away now.
well, she's not there anymore.
Yeah,
Come on, Lily.
she's-
Getting
yeah.
all-
Well, she needs to
You're
move
getting his
back.
hopes all.
She needs-
Sorry, I was reliving my glory days
I'm still
at the White Rabbit.
Oh, yeah, the White Rabbit. Have you
White
been to the White
I
Rabbit?
have been to the White Rabbit.
So White Rabbit, it's an underground speakeasy there in Gilbert, and there's no TVs. It is a pure bar.
It's a no password to get in.
And you have to know a password to get in, to go down the stairs, and you enter through this little room. There's a red light, and it's like an apothecary type.
Yeah, I was stuck at the
Scene.
bookcase for. Well, that was a night that we may or may not have microdosed.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
I took Amy down there for her birthday, and she was a lot of fun video of her trying to find her way down there. That is one of our favorite little underground bars.
Yeah. It's good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fun videos,
Mm-hmm.
how do you want me to address this?
All right, so you met.
I met this girl. We'll call her Sandy,
Okay.
and Sandy is absolutely beautiful.
And you met her on Seeking.
I met her on Seeking. She had been on there a year and a half, 2 years. She had only met one other person.
Only one person?
One person that she had moved in briefly with in California, but it didn't work out.
Wow.
Sandy has a bit of a drinking problem, And she was sober when she met this guy. And he's a former Mormon, and he's convinced her, come on, please, drink a little bit with me.
Really?
Well, yeah, Sandy's a bit like a gremlin.
She fell off the wagon.
Well, you give her a little bit, and a little bit of wine is okay. You give her vodka, and poof,
Okay, so you're 62. How old's Sandy?
34.
For reference there. Okay.
34.
So you met her on Seeking.
And I normally date close to my age. We're relatively close.
You know.
But Sandy's not like the typical 34-year-old. She has an archaeology degree. She lived in a foreign country for 3 years and dug at some ancient sites. And she's also a flight attendant.
Okay.
So she's traveled around the world. She's seen a thing or two. If she's 34, she probably grew up and went to high school at the time Britney Spears was popular.
Yeah.
But I think her friends always kidded her and called her Britney. So
Well, I've seen photos of her. Yeah.
gorgeous girl.
She's very
She
pretty.
developed early,
Yeah.
which leads to things such as boyfriends at 14.
As Bruce Almighty's making a motion with his both hands over his chest.
we all have our things we like, right?
So she was busty.
She's very busty. In fact, she always said, her therapist, who she saw, said it best. Sandy would say, I'm fat. And she goes, no, you're skinny as anything. You have ginormous boobs.
Yeah.
So that describes her from a physical standpoint for the viewers.
Which actually makes shirts fit very well and hide any like belly fat that somebody might have.
Except you
over.
can't wear, you can't wear T-shirts because then you just look like you're pregnant if you have big boobs.
She didn't have that problem.
I
She
always
looked
wear fitted
because
shirts because of my
they
boobs.
droop over. Yeah.
Yeah.
good. Well, she looked good in a Baltimore Ravens Lamar Jackson jersey. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's right. You're a Baltimore guy, aren't you?
I am a suffering Baltimore Ravens
Well, I'm a suffering Cowboys fan, so we can suffer together. We both went through something very traumatic this
fan.
season.
We did that. Exactly. We had high expectations that were unfulfilled.
Well, anyway, onward. We'll move onward.
So I met Sandy. We were supposed to get together for coffee, but somehow that didn't happen. And this was around February last year, close to her birthday. She's like, can you come down? Lives in Chandler. And
Did you message her first?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
mean, so-
messaged her first. We were talking back and forth for 3 months on Seeking.
Okay. Because I've
And,
met girls who've reached out to me. So
I went back on like a month ago for a month, and I had so many messages.
yeah,
Probably because I lost a few pounds. I don't know.
helps.
Yeah, that I eventually closed it down because I'm launching a company and I need to focus and everything else.
Okay. So,
yeah.
all right. So you guys met. Where'd you meet at?
She said, just come down to where I live and pick me up and we'll go out for dinner or something.
Okay.
So I went down and walked in, and her mother was actually there.
Wait a minute. She invited you to her house?
She invited me to her apartment, which I normally wouldn't do, but it wasn't.
But you
like
guys had been talking for a while. It
We've been
wasn't.
we did a FaceTime.
Okay.
Okay. Now, like I said, she's a flight attendant, right? So we were trying to figure out when to get together that 3-month period. Then she fell on ice during a layover in Dallas. So she fell on ice. She broke her ankle. So she's off work. So that gives us the opportunity to meet. We did a FaceTime, in fact, and she showed me the broken ankle. I said, wow, that looks big. So I was worried that she might be 300 pounds. I couldn't be candid.
Yeah, with the big ankles.
Yeah. I
Right.
was like, oh,
Cankles.
can't see the other one. But she's absolutely gorgeous. I went down there. I met her.
Well, the photos you showed us,
Well, yeah, I mean, I fell in lust right away. So anyhow,
as we males do
now,
often.
hey. But again, her place was a little bit disorganized because she was packing up. Her lease was up. We met mid-February. Her lease was up the end of March, and she started packing up. Her mother was there, in fact. And so I met her mother at the same time, which is a little bit odd because she's 6 months older than me only.
Wow. How did that feel? You met her mother on the first date?
I met her mother on the first date. And then
awkward.
after the second sleepover, we're driving out to Lucy's, one of my favorite places up here in Scottsdale. I live close by. Her mother calls. And she goes, what you doing? And Sandy goes, Michael and I are just going out for brunch. She goes, why don't you come over for coffee afterwards? So after we went down to Gilbert, her parents lived in Gilbert, close to where she was in Chandler, right next door. And I remember her dad answering the door and just staring me down.
Wait, her dad?
Well, her dad is, I'm her daddy. I'm not her dad. Her dad was is 6 months older than me, too. So he
I've been
comes
in
to
this
he comes to the
situation.
door, and I think for the first month, he just looked at me.
Well, yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing with my 30-year age difference daughter?
Exactly. But Sandy was over one time, and in fact, we spent every day together. The first time I ever had a relationship where you want to spend every minute together with someone.
Mm-hmm. So you were falling for this girl.
I felt comfortable. I felt like I could 100% be myself. And
I've
she
met
was
people
100%.
like that,
She
yeah.
could be herself.
Just instantly. Lily, as soon as I saw her, I just felt instantly comfortable. Now, we didn't fall in love, but we're still great, great friends to this day.
Yeah, and I felt that. And also, I kind of knew we all have issues. I have issues. Trust me, I have issues. But I knew what hers were right off the bat because the day after our first date, she calls me up at 10:30 in the morning and says, I have a court appearance this afternoon. My parents have some bullshit domestic violence charge, which I got, blah, blah, blah. She goes, I'm drinking a bottle of vodka.
Okay, wait. Her parents filed domestic violence charges against her?
A year earlier, she got in a verbal disagreement and she wanted to get her luggage back and out of the house because she had to work the next day. They didn't want her taking an Uber home and drinking. So they called the Gilbert police.
Wow. How long has she had this drinking problem? All her life?
Age 14, probably 20
Since
years.
age 14, yeah.
Her parents are, I'll say her father's a recovering alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Jody, I don't want to give too much information, never mind.
I do remember the Jody Arias case. What about the Jody Arias? You got me curious now.
We're not going to go there. We'll do that offline. But anyhow, he's a recovering alcoholic, 3 years sober, great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He and I got along great. Once we got past the month, maybe a little bit more than the month, Sandy has a pet snake. You like snakes, don't you?
Do I like snakes?
Do you like snakes? I don't like snakes.
I'm not fond of them.
No.
I stay away from them.
So
I hate snakes.
I, of course, had to hold the snake.
What
on
kind
the
of
first
snake
day.
was it?
It was a ball python, 5.5 feet long, that
You know, it's a special kind of person that has a pet snake.
everyone says that.
It is true.
We're finding a new home for the snake. She's had it 10, 11 years. Sandy, let's let someone else enjoy the snake.
Yeah.
So we came really close a couple times. And I remember we're, a week away from her lease ending and 2 weeks away from her lease ending. I said, look, in fact, her parents were there at the time. I said, she's moving in with me. Because I knew that.
Wait.
I did the guy thing. This girl needs help. This girl needs to live somewhere. If she goes and lives on her own, she's off work right now.
Okay,
she's not making
hold
enough
on.
money.
How many months into it?
Two.
We're a month and a half.
And she's moving in with you?
Yeah, it felt right. And I have no regrets. I have no regrets about any of what I'm going to tell you today.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to tell you some stuff that's going to surprise you a bit.
Yeah. I'm just, from experience and from interviewing hundreds and hundreds of sugar daddies and sugar babies, it takes a little more than a month to know somebody.
Well, I guess you're talking about sugar babies and sugar daddies. This is a girl that contributed to the rent.
Well, I get it, but yeah, no, I get it. We've been in that situation. I have been in your situation. I get it.
Dude, sorry to call you dude. My
No, that's fine.
oldest son literally said, you have a girl that you're living with. I've been divorced since 2007. This is the first time that I even came close to living with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the financial arrangement, you guys were moving in together and just splitting all the finances 50-50 or?
When she first moved in with me, with the snake, which in itself, I learned some very valuable lesson on transporting snakes. Don't ever let the owner of the snake put it around their neck and just go. Because getting it out of the dashboard requires special talent from an auto shop.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
The snake was a red flag, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That's one of many.
Hey, when you're
Domestic violence.
when you're in the
charges
forest,
from
it's
your
hard
own
to see the
parents.
trees.
Oh God, there's already been so many red flags, and we're barely into this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
it gets better.
It gets better.
Let's
it
just
gets
tell
weirder.
our audience it gets better. Hold on. It's going
This
to
is
get
one
crazy.
where, if you guys haven't joined, is a Patreon. If you haven't joined, join now. We'll somehow upload that video with things blocked out or blurred or something.
Yeah.
No,
I just
anyhow.
want to put a picture of the snake on the Patreon.
I have a great picture of the snake. The snake has a name. We'll have to give him a pseudonym too.
Really,
His
because the
name's
snake
Barry.
is well known.
Yeah.
We have to
I wrote
ask to have an
CBS on the
alias?
side because of the snake, because there's a vet that I'm not too happy with down that way. If we go, now that I've talked about the snake, you have to see the snake.
So Bruce Almighty is pulling up pictures of the snake, which we're so excited to see.
And
Aren't you
it's
excited,
a
Lily?
reptile snake. Don't get your mind going to the gutter here, guys.
Show us your snake, sir.
There you
Trust
go.
me, my mind didn't go anywhere else. Oh, my.
Dear God.
So,
Can
Lily,
I please put this on the
Yeah.
Patreon?
Yeah.
Can we?
I'll block out your face.
Yeah.
You block it,
Although
yeah.
I don't want to, because that's a great
So
facial
I
expression.
might let you put that on there.
this
I
is
might
a
approve
Please
great,
do.
great photo of Bruce Almighty with a shocked expression on his face, with a snake completely wrapped around his neck as he's holding the snake near the head.
And the snake is smiling for the camera. It's actually a beautiful snake, if
Who-
there's such a thing as a beautiful snake.
Who would have thought that? I still am scared of the snake, even though it's around my neck, and I'm
Yeah, you look
doing
real
whatever.
scared of the snake.
Imagine that snake landing on your chest as you're sleeping on the couch in the middle of the night.
And it did?
Oh yeah, she
Threw it at you? Oh, God.
Yeah, that was like the start of the drama.
Oh, okay, but
Did
what led
she
up?
do
We
it
gotta
to
get
be
to what led up to
funny,
the
or
drama.
was
Well,
she-
she did to
To
piss
be
me
mean. Oh,
Oh.
dear God.
I was sound asleep.
Instead of beating you with a
Downstairs.
baseball bat, she threw a snake on you.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into that part. She moved in with you, and then
she moved in with me. We lived in my little one-bedroom leased Scottsdale condo.
Okay.
Again, she was recovering from ankle surgery. She's technically based in a different city.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a little bit about flight attendants. They're treated like shit.
Yeah.
Right,
And you were
horrible.
telling me that all the pilots try to sleep with them.
Well, there was one
Pretty
pilot
much.
that just kept literally every time he'd come into town or through town, he'd send a text of his room number.
Yeah.
Now, she never went, and she was like, I have a boyfriend. Pilots don't care. They're like, where's your boyfriend now? Where's your husband
Oh,
now?
I dated a pilot
Oh, that's right.
very briefly.
You met a pilot on.
He was
Seeking.
so fucking arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. It's been a while, but yeah, you.
She was married to one at one point. She was in a 10-year relationship with a guy that, well, that's her story. But my story, because we thought about moving to a different city, we rented, also in Scottsdale, furnished housing for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And we were deciding where we were going to go live. And again, I told you she had a little bit of a drinking problem. She went
little
to
bit.
Yeah, she went to detox in May. She moved in with me end of March. She went to detox in May because I said rehab, detox, or goodbye.
Now, is this drinking to blackout status every day? What was it?
3 bottles of wine, maybe a bottle of vodka a
Every day?
Every day.
And was she an angry drunk?
No, not at this point. No,
No.
she was a throw up a lot drunk. So I learned to clean up.
God.
I have a gag reflex, so that it was something I had to get used to.
Do you ever get used?
You don't. And eventually, you learn to line the trash cans with better bags.
Wow.
That's one thing you learn.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
She went to detox, started drinking again a week or 10 days afterwards. Then we moved to furnished housing, and I just happened to be off work. I'd taken off work for some temporary medical leave, and she had a seizure, and like an epileptic seizure.
From the alcohol?
We didn't know at the time.
Okay.
I filmed it on my iPhone. I happened to be standing right there when she had it. I showed it to her afterwards, and I said, Sandy, we need to do something about this. We need to go to the hospital. We need to do something. This can't continue. And she went back to sleep or whatever. I called the detox place. I said, can someone call me back? They said, look, she didn't do any aftercare program, so we're not responsible. I said, please. So a girl calls back that was her case manager. And the case manager said, Sandy's 34, right? I said, yep. She goes, I'm 37 now. When I was 34, I had a seizure, and I went to the hospital. I got diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh,
goes,
God.
She should have never been detox. She needs an ongoing program. She needs to be in rehab. Right now, you need to take her to Thompson Peak Honor Health.
Mm-hmm.
They're prepared for this. And that happened to be the closest hospital we were close to. So I gave Sandy 2 options. I said, ambulance, it's going to cost a lot, or I'll drive you. And so drove her to the hospital. She had another seizure on the way. We got to the hospital, and she sobered up, and she has early stage cirrhosis. And parents came to visit her in the hospital. Is right around my birthday is July 6th, so it was July 9th.
Now, what is early stage cirrhosis?
It's something you can recover from.
Okay.
So she had the kindest doctors. And her one case manager doctor said, look, I don't care what you do. You're going to fall off the wagon at some point. My father, finally got sober at 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you're going to fall off the wagon, but you need to go at least 2 years without drinking. Your liver's a big organ. You'll be fine.
Your liver can recover and rebuild?
It doesn't recover. That's not true. But it's a big enough organ that you'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
So
If you don't keep deteriorating it,
Exactly.
damaging it.
And there's some things here that this story would make a great TV series, but people would turn it off after the third or fourth episode, say that's unbelievable. But let me get into it a little bit more. We decided she injured her foot doing, or her ankle doing physical therapy. So we ended up knowing we were going to stay longer and she was going to be off work for longer. And she was like, let's get a bigger house. So we looked around Scottsdale for a bit.
At this point, are you fully in love with this girl?
I'm deeply in love. And so is she.
And so it's mutual. You guys
It's mutual. She paid the difference between my condo and the furnished rental.
Okay.
She paid that difference. She would help out with the groceries here and there. And so it was not a...
Did you need that or you just appreciated it?
I appreciated it.
Okay.
So I didn't need it, but I appreciated it. I also started a side gig. A guy I worked with got into the medical space, medical device sales. And actually his girlfriend got into it. And she was not a natural salesperson, so he helped her out. And one of the markets is podiatrist. And with one podiatrist in Chicago, that podiatrist himself went from making what podiatrists make, $150 a year. So he made in 2022. He made $5.4 million in 2023.
Whoa.
And my buddy made $600,000. If he had placed orders himself and tracked them, he would have made $1.2 million off one client.
Wow.
So I partnered up with him for Arizona. That client, because he was helping his girlfriend out, all that money went to his girlfriend, which is fine. It's his fiance now. And we went out and started seeing podiatrists. I think we saw 85 of them. So between August and end of the year, we had 85 visits and we had 10 podiatrists under contract, or what's called lockout paperwork, where other people can't come in and from the same manufacturer and take it.
So that's just all within the last 6 months.
Yeah, so we made a total of, I think it was $500 split 2 ways.
Nice.
Something was wrong. $500, not $600,000.
Wait, how much?
$500.
Are you saying dollars?
Dollars? Yes.
Oh.
That's Baltimore accent. Sorry.
Yeah. I was like,
We made no money. But the good story is, because of that, something was going on, and I've broken off, and I have my own relationship with my own manufacturer and my own business.
Well, I've always touted that there's good that can come from bad. So
Exactly. I think that there's a reason things didn't work out, and whatever happened, happened. And I actually have never been happier in my life.
that's good.
There's a thing I'm reading up on a lot now, or watching the YouTube videos at least. Yeah, let's be real. Stoicism. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if people followed that a little bit more, I mean, one of the most interesting phrases, which may not play well with your audience, is if you want to make a person happy, don't add to their riches, take away from their desires.
100% agree.
Yeah. I mean, if you simplify your life, we all have hopes and dreams, but if you just accept whatever happens and how we respond to it, that's what matters. And I had to respond to it a lot, because what we did is we decided to move down closer to her parents in Gilbert. We moved into a beautiful 2-story house. The first month was great. She was 80 days sober. We even went back east to my 28-year-old son's wedding, and my ex-wife was there, and my ex-wife's been living with a woman. Not saying anything's happening, who knows, but for 8 years now. And they got along great with Sandy. And Sandy got along great with my brother, who's very difficult to get along with, and it was an absolute delight. So we come back from
family approved?
Family approved, both sides, having blast with their parents. And then I go on a business trip for the side business, and I'm down in Tucson, and I'm on the FaceTime with her at midnight. My business partner at the time comes in and says, I've never seen Bruce drunk before.
Now, why would your business partner say that?
I don't know, because he has a big mouth and he was drunk. I had 3 beers and a shot of vodka, and I had been sober for at least 2 hours.
And he told Sandy this?
Yeah.
That you were plastered?
Yeah. And,
Oh.
and Sandy's voice changed immediately. And she didn't answer the phone the next morning. By 1:30, I was completely out of my mind. And I called up her parents and said, can you do a safety check?
Mm-hmm.
And I let them in remotely, and all hell broke loose.
What do you mean?
Well, when I got home, that beautiful 2-story house was completely destroyed inside.
Sandy
Sandy had
destroyed it?
just things thrown everywhere. She was hiding in a bathroom or the laundry room at that point.
What did
written
she
on
do?
written on the mirror was something like "fuck you" or something like that.
Because you were drunk or perceived.
I think I broke her trust.
Oh.
I think she had said something to me, which I vaguely remember saying she wanted to start drinking moderately together, but only together, because I didn't drink while she went sober.
Mm-hmm.
In unity with her, I didn't drink. And I broke her trust that day. And from that day, October 5th, through December 25th,
Just a few months ago.
it was a roller coaster. That first destruction maybe lasted 2 days. Oh, guess where I stayed? I moved out because it just became dramatic and, I just didn't feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to give her space. Guess where I went to stay?
No idea.
Her parents.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I literally stayed at her parents every time, except for New Year's Eve and one time when things happened October 5th. Finally, the end of November, I reached out to my family and said, this is what's going on in my life. I started calling my oldest son. I realized he has a new baby. He doesn't need this. So I'm going to reach out to my younger son back in Baltimore. And he told my older son, and they called me up and said, we're going to get you a hotel room tonight, and then we'll move you out.
I mean, how are you mentally and physically getting through this? Were you losing sleep? Were you having anxiety issues?
I didn't sleep more than 2 hours straight a night.
Yeah.
I put on weight.
Usually you lose weight.
I was out doing 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
My regular job, I went back to work on October 9th, and I was doing the side job. I was juggling a ton of shit. I mean, I remember I would carry those chocolate-covered espresso beans from Starbucks in the car because otherwise I'd fall asleep during the day. And there were days where I'd have my business partner. I'd say, can you drive? Because I needed a nap for a few minutes.
You start hallucinating a little bit.
It was hell. But it wasn't just drama. There were days that were absolute pleasure. I mean, things were normal. I came home one Friday night. You know what she did? I come home. She has a piece of paper. She goes, I've rewritten this twice before for me, but she hands me a letter. And it says, she got one of her checks, disability checks, because she was on workers' comp. You have 2 hours, pick the store. You have $1,299 to spend. Who the fuck does that?
She offered that to you?
Yeah. I've been married twice. I was married 19 and a half years, second time. 2 years the first time. I've never fucking gotten a gift like that. Have you? I mean, as a guy.
And why that specific number?
That was the value of the
her
check.
check. Yeah.
She got the check for
Oh,
that. The full check. And
I was like, what?
yeah,
That's
she
an
said
odd number.
Yeah. The condition is you can't buy anything for me and you can't buy anything for the house.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was just like I cried on the way. I chose Walmart. I wanted someplace that she likes to shop too. Also, here's a girl you meet on Seeking. I took her out to dinner once. The first night we went to a Mexican restaurant. She was happy with La Faritas, the Mexican place, bean and cheese burrito, and the girl's happy.
There you go.
Tostada, and even better, get some nice jalapenos, stuffed jalapenos, and she's in heaven. Our favorite thing to do besides, which we did 3 times a day.
What is
Well,
sex.
you saw the motion. You know what it is.
Yeah, we would fuck 3 times a day. In fact, I have a video of her literally saying...
Well, see, that's part of the problem, too, is that you love that part so much that a lot of things were cloudy.
Well, of course. Come on, let's be real.
Like I said, I've been in your shoes.
Best sex I ever had in my life. In fact, best sex I ever had in my life, period. At the end of the day, I finally found a woman that was able to keep up with me. Mm-hmm. No, seriously. I remember she was telling me, I have a cute video of her literally saying how she told her therapist, you know what? He goes out and plays pickleball every morning. And the therapist goes, well, at least he's active. She goes, yeah, but that's one of the best fucking is.
In the morning.
Yeah, I love the morning. But, everything, experimentation,
Yeah.
outfits,
so
everything.
you guys were compatible physically. Like she was
Very
pleasing you
physically.
physically.
Very much so.
And then you were in love with her.
I think she was in love with me. In fact, I think that was part of the downfall. I think that she realized she was in love with a guy that wasn't super wealthy. When we moved to Gilbert, she even paid more of the difference. She paid the difference again. And I think the dynamic changed when that happens too. I think the power dynamic changes a lot.
But you were all in at this point. Like your emotions were all in. And that's what's
I'm ready
the
to marry
toughest thing.
She would play this song. What's it? That song, Dear Future Husband.
Okay.
You know the song, right?
I do.
And I love that song. And I think she was all in. But I also knew she had some issues with the past because she kept calling me her ex-husband's name.
Oh, God.
And according to her ex-husband, who I've connected with recently, she called him her ex-boyfriend's name. So, hey,
Well,
it's a
it
pattern.
happens. I've done
It's a
it.
pattern. From October 5th till December 25th. Oh, she went to rehab on December 3rd, which was also the day I understood, because I moved out for my own safety like November 24th or 5th.
Okay, so you moved out for your own safety, but you guys are you still dating
We're
or
still
did you break
talking.
up? What-
We didn't break up because at that point I'm more, let's get her off to rehab. I've tried right before Thanksgiving to get her to this place and negotiated very upscale 5-star rehab, Adam Sandler's former home or something like that. And she would get really close and then chicken out.
You said you moved out for your own safety. What were you afraid of? What kind of things did she do that terrified you?
Well, I think one of the scarier things was one night she came up and threw water on me when I was 2 hours asleep. That's not the scary part. So
well, it's shock like it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's
I
jolting.
stood up. She would also do things where if I was sleeping on the couch downstairs, open the door, let the cats out. So she was testing my love, I think. So
How did the cats and the snake get along?
they got along great. They
One
did.
big animal menagerie.
Yeah,
fucking zoo over
I came
there.
so close to trading the snake in for a sugar flyer or something like that. I was willing to take any pet except of a snake.
Yeah.
Within reason. So, but long story short, that night she threw water on me. I stood up. I just kind of stood in front of her until she got out of the room, and I shut the door.
Now, are you guys arguing or yelling at this point, or what's?
We didn't really get physical. There's only one fight that she came at me, and I pushed her away. But for the most part, yeah, she would get mad. She'd get mad about something. And it wasn't like I did something.
She was just having a hard time controlling her emotions.
She was just, it was something was going on inside her that was just upsetting her. And maybe I triggered something, I don't know. Or maybe, come on, she had ate me. So maybe that was it.
Was she drinking at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She was drinking well.
Yeah.
So long story short, she goes out of the room. I shut the door, which didn't even lock at this point. And this is a door into the bedroom. And I stood back and grabbed my phone. Something told me, grab your phone and film this. She had told me like a week before the things went down in October, this is a one consenting party state. You can record someone, video, voice, anything without the other person's,
Which is true.
which I started taking advantage of.
Yeah.
So that night, she decided to do a Jack Nicholson and come through the door.
You showed us video.
Yeah.
Like she literally
Kicked
busted
her
through the
way
broke
through the door.
Like the bottom half actually ended up swinging upwards.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
bottom panel, and
did-
she crawled in like a dog.
She did, and she said, "You don't lock me out of my bedroom." So, it was that.
Are we putting that video on Patreon?
You have to do a lot of editing for that one, or get her an acting gig.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get her acting gig, maybe we'll work it out.
How did that night end? You couldn't very well lock her out anymore.
No, I think I went downstairs, and as soon as it became daylight, I went to the gym. Luckily, gym's open 4 a.m, and again stayed at her parents'. So a couple days after that, I moved into her parents', and in my mind, I was moving out permanently until she got into rehab. So when I moved out, we had hired a housekeeper when I went on a trip for the side business to Vegas, and my business partner threw up in the bathroom. I went downstairs and told the front desk, and they said, we'll send in the biohazard team. So a bell went off in my head. I said, fuck if I'm cleaning things up from now on. I'm going to hire someone to do so. So that was early November. This is now late November, and she's built up a little friendship with this housekeeper / organizer who's spending more time talking than cleaning and organizing at this point. And when I moved out, she moved in more or less.
The cleaner?
She didn't move in, but I went over to drop off mail or check in on her, and she'd walk in like she owned the place.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, Sandy's giving away stuff that we just bought. And this piece of crap housekeeper's walking in, handing her hard alcohol. She goes, I'm buying the small bottles of vodka, as if that's going to help. And then on that Sunday, we tried to get her into rehab on that Friday. She got as far as the airport, and then Sandy made it home without a phone, a wallet, or anything. My younger son said it's because I posted on Facebook something like Home Alone or something movie, and she probably saw that, and probably true. And she came to the door. Oh, we're both on the lease at this point. When we moved in there together, as well as a furnished rental, we were both on the lease. That's a very important detail. Because in Arizona, I don't know where it is in other states and other countries, but in Arizona, if you're both on the lease, you both have a right to live there. And the only way that lease is being broken is how?
Order of protection.
Bingo. So we get to Christmas Day. Well, I was telling you about the housekeeper. The housekeeper, I went over there on that Sunday the 3rd and discovered the housekeeper had a contract from Sandy that says she was buying into her business for $25,000. So she was taking advantage of a drunk, taking money from her. She ended up taking like $18,000 from her.
Wait, Sandy bought into the housekeeper's business?
The housekeeper was scamming her.
What business did she say she had?
She has a housekeeping business.
Oh, man.
So $25,000 for 45% share. Yeah. Let's do the math on that one. But long story short, that housekeeper I have order harassment against because she threatened. When I discovered it, I went back a couple hours later and said, this is bullshit. And she tried to lock me out of the house. I said,
Who did?
The
Sandy?
housekeeper.
The housekeeper.
Housekeeper said, I'm going to come back and burn down your place. And she said, my husband's going to beat the shit out of you. I had it also on recording because these watches record too.
See, this is the kind of tenants that I seem to have too, as a landlord. Shit like this.
Oh, my God. So the cops came that day too.
Oh, man.
Oh, I left out the cops came on October 9th because, again, Sandy went on a bender. And we had moved, things were settled that previous weekend, and we had moved a couch over to sell at a yard sale. I had to run over there and sell it because someone was buying it on OfferUp. And while I was gone, I gave very specific instructions to her father. Under no conditions, call the police. So I'm over there selling the couch. My phone rings. Yes. You need to come here. Don't tell me the police are there. Just need to come here. The police were there. Her mother had gotten into it with her. Her mother is, very energetic, I'll say that. And she didn't really respect the personal space, and Sandy punched her in the eye.
Oh, no.
I finally read the police report. I finally got a copy of it, December 26th, which was the day after I moved out in my mind. Well, again, I moved out at the end of November. She goes off to rehab December 3rd, despite the housekeeper stealing money. She's in this nice rehab from December 3rd till Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, I'm picking her up at the airport at noon. I would think that 3 weeks in rehab, she's a pretty good place, right? She was drunk.
When you picked her up?
She had drinking at the airport in Los Angeles.
Oh.
She comes home drunk. So I'm like, okay, let's get through the holiday. So a little bit later in the afternoon, I'm like, let's go over to my favorite place in the world is Lifetime Fitness. I mean, it's absolutely my sanctuary. We go over there. I'm all proud that I'm bringing my girlfriend. I always talk about her. I introduce her to the front staff who I know well. And I say, this is my girlfriend. And she goes, don't introduce me that way. I'm not your girlfriend. We're working through issues.
Well, that's a knife in the heart.
Well, yeah. Well, karma's karma, right? So as you check in, you have to, because you're bringing a guest, you get a text. Mm-hmm. And she looks at my phone for the text. And right at that moment, I got a picture from a girl that I had been talking to. Because I'm a guy. Let's face it. It was
You dirty dog.
Well, it wasn't a naked picture. It was a picture of her on a plane going to a football game in Miami because she's a Cowboys fan.
Oh, I'm liking her now.
Yeah.
Got a little sense to her.
I had met her. I had talked to her a year before on Seeking. I hadn't even met her face to face. I met her after all this next part drama, and I turned it into a business meeting because she works at a hotel, which is a category that the company I used to work for served. So long story short, it was platonic. It wasn't anything. But Sandy got a little upset. But again, she said she wasn't my girlfriend. And she walked out and walked home, not too far away. So Christmas night went from her passing out at 6 o'clock, her cleaning some cat litter thing, like this fancy thing, and me going to the grocery store to buy a temporary cat litter thing and spending $180 on groceries so she would have a good Christmas and some Christmas decorations and stuff like that. And Christmas Day is going to turn dark now, if it wasn't already. 11 o'clock in the morning, she tried to commit suicide, which was the second time she did.
How did she do that?
Well, the first time was in October or November. She slit her wrist in the kitchen.
Oh, my God.
With a huge butcher knife. She had me go downstairs to get something, like additional bacon. I went up. She was in the bedroom. I found her in the closet with luggage straps around her neck.
She was trying to hang herself?
And she'll say she wasn't, that if she wanted to, she would have been successful. So my response to that is, so you were just fucking with me? My heart, my head? I think she was trying to. I think she's suicidal. And luckily I had told a police officer that. Luckily a locker mate at the gym I go to said something about that. I knew she had attempted it in the past too. And that trumps everything. Because let's face it, a girl can say, he hit me here, and I'm the one going away in handcuffs. And thankfully, that locker mate and my youngest son said, you need to be in line, Dad. You're going to be on the outside looking in. So 11 o'clock in the morning, that drama. She kept wanting to get into it. She kept wanting to look at my phone. She kept bringing the snake over close to me. I was staying in my safe space on the couch. Literally, restricted the number of times I went to the bathroom and got food. And the one gift I got this year, one physical gift, was a picture of my grandson from back east in a frame. So I get up to get food or bathroom or something. And again, I have the couch and the little table in front of me. And she's throwing that picture along with my computer and iPad and stuff like that. And I just set me off. I got in her face. I said, fucking stop this shit. Siri 911. She calls the police. She said, my boyfriend just spat at me, which I didn't. Police come 2 minutes. We're there 2 minutes away. Gilbert Police is the second safest city in the country, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Police come. You know what they say? We're tired of coming to your house. This has become toxic. One of you move out. When we come back, ones will go away in cuffs. So I went to her parents again that night, and I literally recognized the gloves had come off. And if she's willing to lie to the police, this is an unsafe situation. I now need to do whatever I have to do. Weeks earlier, her parents talked to her psychiatrist that she had seen, who hopefully soon will be disbarred, or not disbarred, but not have her license. And she said, fuck HIPAA, here's what's wrong with your daughter. Which I don't think, psychiatrists are supposed to say that. Again, that was early December. She mentioned some place called Community Bridges. I looked into it. It's a shithole of a place where people that are, literally off the streets, can't cope with stuff are sent. But I then found myself on December 29th going over to our house because her parents thought she had committed suicide. So we went over there. Her father called the police that day. They came. She was still alive and safe. She, was just asleep or had passed out in the bed. The officer was part of what's called a crisis response team, CRT. And this officer said, here's what you have to do. You have to go down right now to Community Bridges and file a petition. She's dangerous to herself. She's dangerous to others, and she can't take care of herself. So I went down with her dad. They made us rewrite the petition. I signed the petition. It's my petition. My handwriting sucked, so he rewrote it. And we then waited for her to be picked up. And it was the worst thing I ever had to do.
Yeah, it's tough.
To send someone you love to a shithole. Now, talking to them the next day, you're seen every 23 hours. But remember, it's a holiday weekend. Every 23 hours, you're seen by a doctor. First doctor sees her, says she needs to go to not involuntary, again, against her will, into a place called Valley Wise. But the next doctor saw her 30-some hours later, said, again, Sandy doesn't look like most of the people there. She's a beautiful 34-year-old girl that once she sobers up, can talk well. So she convinces them it's just an alcohol problem. So they send her voluntarily to St. Luke's, which is even a worse place. St. Luke's Behavioral Health Center should have been shut down 20 years ago. Because it was voluntary, I was scared shitless. It was New Year's Eve. I got a couple of things that I value, and I got the shit out of there. I was afraid she was coming home because I wasn't going to go to her parents that night. She ended up staying. And, you know, I told her on January 4th, that I'd gotten an order of protection, that I could submit it to the leasing company and break the lease, that I didn't have to serve her, that I'd meet her elsewhere, parents, you know, coffee shop, but I did not want to serve her. I told her that the night before. I sent a group text to her and both her parents. I even told her lawyer that was handling the upcoming March 9th situation with the incident with her parents. And sure enough, she came to the door. And so I called the police, and she was served. And I haven't looked her in the eye since.
So that was like a month ago.
It was a month ago. They took the cats that day. They left the snake. Somehow they left the snake. The dad said, the snake's not coming. I put in almost immediately we had in order of protection the right to talk back and forth via email about financial issues only. Snake's not a financial issue. So I asked for a modification. I had a plaintiff-only hearing. I got a phone call 2 hours before that hearing that says she's challenging the petition, so it's going to be the following week. So she shows up at court the following week with a lawyer that she had just hired the day before, and it could not have gone worse.
Oh, no.
For her.
Oh.
Judge was a bit confused at first. The lawyer was saying something like, I've never seen this. Why is a plaintiff challenging his own order? Well, there's a condition about the snake. So he first sends them out because the lawyer convinces them that she didn't create a challenge. And then he calls them back in because she actually filed 2 challenges. So in between waiting for them to come back, I talked to the lawyer. I said, look, I don't want to ruin anyone's life. Supposedly she says this destroys her life as a flight attendant. It's bullshit. It's not true. From what her ex-husband, who's a pilot, told me. But long story short, I said to the lawyer, if we work out an agreement that she gets help, you know, she goes to rehab, she goes after program for a year, that she gets psychiatric evaluated. Her therapist thinks she has what's called borderline personality disorder. You know, listeners, look that up. It will freak the shit out of you. It means that she had trauma at a young age. I know she was raped when she was 14 by her boyfriend's older brother, which is bad enough. And an uncle or some family member sexually assaulted her at some point. But this is way before that. And if her parents were alcoholics at the time, they probably didn't deal with it the way they should have. She has an older sister. There's some trauma. She kept watching that movie Frozen, which is the Disney movie, which is about sister relationship. And her sister, and you know, they don't want anything to do with her sister and her husband and their kids. You know, she needs help. And it's not something to laugh about. It's something. I've lost family members. My oldest son refuses to see me. He had a baby in early October, refuses to see me. Other family members think I'm crazy. My business partner I was partnered up with kind of backed away, which worked out in the end fine.
Because of your relationship with
her.
Sandy?
Well, because they didn't understand 2 things. One, that I don't believe you'd stop helping a person. I mean, as shitty as it was for me to send her to Community Bridges, it was also the kindest thing I could do.
I was in the same shoes as you. People were, my very first sugar baby, she was addicted to pills.
Right.
And people are like, why are you, she's such a mess. Why are you continue that? That girl loved me like nobody's loved me. You know, now Alejandra loves me a lot now too. But at that time, I had never really felt that love for me. And I actually loved her. I knew it wasn't going to last because it was just so tumultuous and just toxic. But I couldn't walk away from the situation. And people are like, you're crazy. What are you doing? Just walk away. And I couldn't. So I get it. It's tough because when you feel that love that somebody actually has for you, and then you see them going through all this, you just want to help them and be there for them. And it's, what do? That's the age-old question, right?
And everyone has their own view of the world. I mean, she's not a person of faith. In fact, she was praying on her bed when she was 6, and her father came in and said, we don't do that in this house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person of faith. And at the end of the day, take faith out of you. Do what's right in the world.
Yeah.
Consequences may suck, but at least you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't talked to her in a month.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, because there's a election.
Where are you guys now? We got to wrap up, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to know.
I want to know too. I mean, at the end of the day, I love this woman, and if she gets help, anything's possible.
Yeah.
What I care about right now is her getting help.
Yeah.
Can't be in a relationship with someone that is mentally unstable.
Yeah.
Are you still living with her parents?
No. I moved someplace that no one will know where I live.
Yeah.
And
Good.
my mail goes to a UPS store so that
Well, you're in walking distance of the White Rabbit.
I still am, but I
There's
can
a
walk pretty
lot.
far. Yeah.
Well, we don't know what the future is going to be, but I can tell
No.
you from my personal experience, I finally had to walk away, and we have now reconnected as friends, and she still messages me, and we're on good terms, and she says, you were the best thing that ever happened to my life. I was able to she quit drinking also, my very first sugar baby. She had an alcohol problem along with her oxy problem, but she got off of the pills. She says she hasn't drank in so many years, and it was all because of the influence I had on her life. Now, are we ever going to get back together? No, but it does feel very good.
That's good.
That I made that big of a difference. But it was just too toxic, and there's just no way I could go forward with that. For my mental state,
Right.
there was just no way. Sometimes you can love somebody to death, but it's not good for you.
Now, you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm in a really good place right now, and 2024 is kicking off fantastic.
Good.
I mean,
Good to hear.
business is coming together. I have great people around me. I can't jeopardize that.
Yeah.
I've learned how to set boundaries to this. Oh, I left out something. I tended to turn lemons into lemonade in this situation. I had met with the mayor a few days before things went down, and so 2 officers are getting commendations.
Mm.
They're getting recognized for their service because they were fantastic to
That's
deal
good.
with. And at the end of the day, I want to see this person happy and healthy with or without me.
Good. Well, there's other people that will love you too. This isn't the only
Dude,
girl.
I'm 62 and a half years old. I shouldn't have said that. Why do you call people out on their age?
Just a
What's your
reference.
age? Those guys are vain too.
I fell in love with Tricker at 61, and now he's 62.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am 53, but I'm just about to be 54.
Whatever.
Right.
You look 37.
She does.
Oh,
Matter of fact,
goodness.
I'm gonna snap a picture here before we leave of these boots because we're definitely throwing these things on Patreon. Well, Bruce, I know it was very emotional for you to tell us this story, but you know it's life. It's what happens. I went through something similar, not exactly, but there was some violence involved. There was a lot of sleepless nights. I actually lost weight during mine because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My anxiety was through the roof. I mean, love hurts. And sometimes you learn some valuable lessons after it's all over. And you look and you're like, what was I doing? I'm destroying myself. But as I've touted a long time, I had to go through my own therapy and my own healing. And the way I did that was just typing in my feelings into YouTube. I'm not a guy that I just didn't feel like going to a therapist.
Well, I went to a couple,
But-
so I'm good.
I typed in my feelings in YouTube and watched all kinds of videos from relationship coaches, psychotherapists who are telling me, okay, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on in their head. Here's what you need to do for yourself to get yourself into a better situation. And I basically followed the direction, and everything started working out as they all said it would. Now, they had a little bit different takes on things, and that's why I liked listening to different ones. So there's help out there, whether you get it in person, there's online therapist, or like I did, just, type in your feelings and see what comes up. Because there was a lot of eye-opening moments for me as I started watching some of the videos and some of the therapists, and I was like, oh my God, they do understand. I haven't been through it. I was married for 17 years. And when it was over, it was over. There was no tears shed.
Right.
We were done. The feelings were lost. I didn't lose sleep. I was ready to move on with my life. But boy, falling in love again, I didn't know how to deal with my feelings. And it was tough.
Well, this is something people will look at me sideways every time I say it. I don't regret any moment I was with her.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, even the drama.
Same.
Because you know what? You care for someone.
Yeah.
But
And
this has been therapeutic today. I want to really thank you.
What about
well,
when
you're
the
welcome.
snake landed on your chest?
Well, people were impressed I didn't put it down the garbage disposal, but I care for animals too, so I wasn't going
What
to do that.
became of the snake?
The snake is still healthy and living somewhere, not with me.
Does she have it, you think?
Oh, yeah.
She still has it. Okay.
Yeah, there's side stories where the cats returned and other things happened. But
all right. Well, you'll have to keep us updated. I wish we could go a little bit longer, but we've already run our time in the studio. But again, thank you for coming in. You were brave to share the story. I think more people can relate than you will know. Like I said, I went through this. I'm sure Lily has gone through similar things.
Yeah,
And
I have.
Our listeners, I get letters from our listeners all the time like, oh my God, you guys just described a situation that I've been dealing with, and thank you for covering that subject. So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. You're going to make me tear up. All right, Lily. Thanks for joining us today. If you guys want to.
I drove through a torrential
did.
rain/hailstorm
I know.
to
Can
be
you
here.
believe that?
It was so terrifying.
I know. All right. Well, we always welcome and love hearing your crazy sugar dating stories like Bruce Almighty just shared. It happens. So go to our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. And again, follow us on Patreon. You're going to get to see these boots. I'm going to post them on there.
Yeah, baby.
That's patreon.com/secrets of a sugar daddy podcast. I'll put a link to it at the bottom of the description of this podcast. All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Thanks again, Bruce Almighty. Lily, until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.